Welcome to the Jackie Jackson Show, the place where you can gather information to inspire, empower, educate, and motivate you. If you are an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, a business professional, this is the place to be. I interview the who's who in business. Some are extremely professional, millionaires at that, while others are just starting out. And we talk about and discuss all of their experiences and their challenges and their story behind their success. And today's show, will always be getting that information out to you. So today I actually have a wonderful guest, and I'm so excited. That's why I'm tripping over my words. I'm excited because I am a party goer, and he has taken partying to a whole nother level. And that's why I'm so excited. So I will not keep you in suspense. His name is Paul Van Camp. Paul, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to explain my little creation.
And a creation indeed is
Yes.
what it is. I am really excited because there are so many creative people in this world, and if they would believe in themselves and push forward, they can actually discover something so new and so phenomenal that they can share with the world that it would just blow everybody's mind. And that's exactly what you have done. I have your bio here. I'm just going to share a few things about it. Is that okay?
Sure.
Can I gloat on you for a little bit?
Oh.
So for over 30 years, I mean, so decades of experience, right? For over 30 years, you've worked as a visual effects and animation industry expert, developing software and empowered other professional artists, right? That's
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And you're currently focused on a personal project, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. That is a smart app. You created your own social game. Now, how many times have you played a game on your phone and then said to yourself, man, I could do that, or I have an idea for a game, and you didn't really know where to go, what to do, or what resources was necessary to have your dream become a reality? Well, Paul did it, and he's going to share with us today how he did it and how his game works. All right, so your game is called Ice Picks, which I just love that because I'm from Brooklyn and we used to carry ice picks. Amongst other things. Love my Brooklynites, by the way. So it's not that. That's not what you made. You didn't make an ice pick. It's an Ice Picks, and it's a virtual app that can be downloaded on the Apple Store
Yes.
network as well as the Google Play.
Yes.
Any other place, or those are the two
No, it's
main?
Android and iPhone only.
Android and iPhone capable. All right, so
Yes.
we got that. And it features photo contests, a scavenger hunt, and a social icebreaker game, which is the reason why, as a party goer, I'm thinking that this is going to revolutionize people's experience when they go out to like different social events.
How nice.
Wouldn't it though? I think
Yes.
so. It's going to catch on. I know it is. And already so. You have a great following already. So it promotes social engagement and personal creativity, and it fosters discussion, which is what a social event is all about. Too often, people go to a social event and they don't talk to anybody. Or my favorite, I've seen this recently where a couple goes out and they go to a fancy restaurant, a really nice place to enjoy each other's company, but they're each on their phones without actually being social or engaging with them, right? Because we live in a world where there's so much access to information that we're on it all the time, right?
Yes.
But you have been able to harness that craving to be on the phone and involved virtually, and have transformed it into something that is a physical interaction and a social interaction with another person or a group of people.
The idea is to motivate people to use their phone to get off their phone and to interact with the people who are in the same physical space as them. And it does it through games. And in fact, that was a big question I asked myself when I noticed that people weren't playing a lot of games at a lot of these parties. And so I said, so what sort of game really works at a party? And it would be a game that promotes social interaction, that promotes people meeting new people that they don't know, making it comfortable for people to interact with people they don't know. And it would be inclusive. There are, of course, a lot of games. Party games are usually turn-based games, but turn-based games, after like 8 people or so, you're waiting. You have to wait a long time for your turn. And if you start talking to someone, and someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "Stop talking, it's your turn,"
you get
it's
distracted,
disruptive.
or you're not motivated enough, to continue playing one of those turn games. But your game is totally different, and I'm going to have you explain exactly what your game does and how people socially interact with each other at a party right after this commercial break.
Liven up your party with Ice Picks, a smartphone app featuring creative photo contests and icebreaker games. One such game is called Human Hunt. To play, you identify guests from a photo that they submit. These photos may be a close-up of some jewelry, a pattern on their shirt, or something else that identifies them. When you identify someone, tap the Who button beside their photo and enter their player name in the dialog screen. Another game is called I've Got a Secret. It is based on the classic 20 questions game. To play, enter a short description of something about yourself. This becomes your secret. Using questions with yes or no answers, you interrogate others. And once you have determined which is their secret, you tap the Who button to enter their player name. The Ice Picks app also supports photo contests and a scavenger hunt. For information on how to set up these games for your next party, visit our website at www.icepicks.fun.
Welcome back to the Jackie Jackson Show. So if you were paying attention, on our last commercial break, we actually aired a promotional video for Ice Picks. And if you were paying attention, then you got a really clear introduction to how cool this game really is. And I am sitting here with the software developer and creator and founder of Ice Picks, Mr. Paul Van Camp. Paul?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I thank you so much for being on the show. So we played the video a moment ago. Elaborate, please. What are all of the different, features of the game, and share with me how fun it is. I'm all about having fun.
Cool. So it is a multi-game app. So there are photo contests, and you can have multiple photo contests.
Like selfies?
And you can do serious things, like best picture of the bride and groom. You can go silly with, say, a funny face selfie. You can do best group hug. You can do best photo with kissing. And you can do charades, best photo impersonating a famous person, if people want to play that way. And so the idea is to use photography not only to make the photography creative, but also to motivate people to engage in actions like group hug, or there's the shoot someone you don't know photo contest, which is basically saying go out there, find someone you don't know, and take their picture. And
that's really interesting. That's not awkward at all.
No. Well, in certain states, you might want to call it something other than shoot someone you don't know.
This is very, very true.
So it also supports a timed contest that would interrupt the multiple ongoing contests. So if cake comes out, or there's or sunset on the horizon, you can do, say, a 20-minute time contest, and then say best photo with cake. And then at the end of 20 minutes, you can have a winner for that, and you can go back to the more general and multiple ongoing photo contests.
And how did you dream this up? It's so elaborate, and so, I can hear the labor of love as you describe the app and how people can use it to benefit their social interaction. What was going through your mind at the time when you were designing it?
Well, it goes back to my father was a professional photographer. So I grew up thinking of photography as an art form, as a way to create beautiful pictures. But you see a lot of the postings on Facebook, and people have these incredible phones with incredible cameras, and they're just using it to document who they were with and what they ate. Right. And that's great that they're documenting their life.
And more of what they ate.
Yes, often. But I really thought, wouldn't it be great to inspire people to think about photography as a creative pursuit? And so I thought, well, if we do photo contests at parties, I mean, it's a great time to do photo contests.
Right.
You're at a party, you're looking for something interesting to do, something to talk about. So people will be inspired to take creative photos, and then they vote for the winner. And there's also a large screen. You can attach it to a large screen TV and do a slideshow. So as photos
that's interesting.
So as photos are coming in, people will sort of mill around the TV screen and talk about the ones coming in, and since they are voting on the favorite, the conversation will go to what's a good photo, what's not such a good photo.
Right.
And so then people are basically going to be self-educating themselves as to the value of aesthetics in photography.
How interesting is that, that you were able to incorporate all of those ideas into your virtual app and still make it, although it is virtual, it is still interactive in the real world, because that's really where we want to bring it. That's where humans live. Androids and avatars live, right? In the virtual world. You can create any reality that you want through any game or any piece of software, but more importantly, our interaction with each other is what is really going to carry us in life. So I appreciate you incorporating that human aspect into your game and still making it very entertaining. And another part of your game, which I absolutely love and adore, is the educational piece. Absolutely. You mentioned that it's actually being used in schools as well. Can you elaborate on that and share how that's being done?
Well, I've spoken with teachers. I don't know that they're actually using it yet, but they like the idea.
Who on them? I'm make sure these teachers, I'm going to lobby for you and make sure that they begin using it.
Well, it's very new, so it'll take time for people to catch on. But yes, teachers can first teach, say, about painting imagery in painting and photography through textbooks. Okay. But then you can go to the students and say, okay, now it's your turn. Take photos with the app, because the app doesn't allow you to pull photos from your album. All the photos for the contest have to be done during the duration of the contest. So the students would submit their photos, and then they would use the large screen slideshow to go through the photos, and you challenge the student to explain how they used what they learned in the textbooks about, about how the masters created great compositions and how they were trying to use light and dark and triangular compositions.
So another practical application, right?
Yes.
Okay, so after this next commercial break, we're going to talk about how you transition from your vision and making it a reality and creating a business out of it.
Okay. Great.
Need more customers for your business? Create your own TV commercial. Advertise with us. We'll help you promote your product, your service to your customers. A plan to fit every budget. Over 1.5 million household views. Increase your revenue and sales. Advertise with us today. Advertise at thejackyjackson.com.
Welcome back, everybody. You are watching The Jackie Jackson Show, and I'm sitting with our guest, Mr. Paul Van Camp, creator and founder of Ice Picks. Now, you were, or maybe you still are, but your history and your experience is surrounding the visual arts and visual effects, and you worked with quite a lot of cinematographers and photographers. Your father was a photographer. How did you transition from working in that industry to software development?
Well, that's not an entirely happy tale. The visual effects industry has been very disrupted by governments subsidizing and luring productions away from the states and creating temporary havens that has resulted in a lot of visual effects artists having to move from place to place and country to country as the productions chase after the subsidies that governments are competing with each other. And so basically I decided after 30 plus years in visual effects industry and feature animation that it was time to try something new. Okay. Now, generally you want to go with what you know.
Most times, people, you want to go if you like to cook at home. Some people may say, okay, well maybe it may be a good idea for me to open a restaurant, right?
Sure.
That's like the natural transition.
Sure.
But it sounds like you did something different.
Well, it was a big transition to go from doing water for the Titanic and Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters to doing an app. So even though it's still programming, there was a lot of new technology I had to learn. Fortunately, there's an enormous wealth of resources online. You have websites like Coursera, which offers a lot of free classes, and YouTube. There's a lot of people posting tutorials for self-learning on YouTube. And then it's like the local library has wonderful training programs, and you have a subscription to lynda.com, which is an online training program that is free to people who have a library card here in Orlando.
Yes. And if you're not a library card subscriber, you would need to sign up. There is wonderful resources at the library. It's so underutilized.
It's amazing what they have. They have all kinds of programs like Photoshop, Adobe, Premiere, and Maya, and like visual effects. All of the visual effects and animation programs that you've heard of, and many that you haven't heard of. They have training programs, and then once you're trained, you can go down there and you can use their computers and their software licenses, and you can just create amazing movies and games and things like that.
Things like that. So it sounds to me that the catalyst for you approaching software development was based off of the changes in your industry, the visual effects industry. That was really what prompted you. And a lot of people that are working in, various different industries, they're experiencing the same thing. If you were working with natural resources like a coal miner or something like that, if you're out in one of those states and you find that, wow, we're moving to more energy efficient usage of for cars and for powering our buildings, you're going to have to be flexible and be open to learning new things and trying new approaches to the very same information that you and the skills that you already have within you. So as an entrepreneur, that's exactly what you did. And I am so excited to hear that, because so many people kind of like stay stuck in their area of expertise, and then they get phased out.
Right.
You
well,
know?
It's good to start with what you know, not do a clean slate, but to pivot. Always be pivoting. So in my career, I got my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. Then I actually, when Disney opened up Epcot back in '82, they actually had me pivot into software development from being an electrical engineer. And then they laid off a lot of people after Epcot was open, and I pivoted into movies and robotic camera systems. And then in the 90s, I pivoted to digital production and computer-generated imagery. So, and so this was another pivot.
Yes. So your flexibility definitely paid off. So with your business now for iSpix and your apps, where have you used it? Explain to me, like at an event, how would someone take advantage of, or if I was having a party or a social event, how would I incorporate it into that event?
Okay, well, the easiest way to create it is with the website. The app itself does have a create event button, but there's not a lot of instructions. So if you go to the website, which is icepix.fun, ICEPIX.FUN.
Great URL, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, icepix.fun.
Yes.
That's actually pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. So if you go there and you register an account, then you basically push a button to create an event. You choose which photo contests you want. You choose which games you want to enable. If you want to do the scavenger hunt, which we haven't mentioned, the way the scavenger hunt works is if you're going to have the party, say, at your house, you would pick items for people to find that are not too easy. make some of them easy.
Right.
But,
like something on a bookshelf or a figurine or, you know, little items around
could be a little
your house.
item. I like to do images within images.
Ooh.
So, because a lot of venues are a little sparse and as far as hiding little figurines or whatnot, but a lot of times they have big pictures of things. And if you look in the pictures, then you find pictures within pictures, and you make that a line item in your scavenger hunt. It's challenging and fun. So let's say you get, I don't know, say 12 items, 8 to 12 items. At the website, you do a one-line description of each item that you want people to find.
Okay.
When they find it, they take a photograph of the item. And then once they've completed the list, the scavenger hunt list, their entry shows up on the website with a timestamp showing when they did it and what order people did it. So you can give people a prize for who's ever first. Mm-hmm. But also at the end of the party, it has a button labeled lottery, which just randomly, from all of the entries of people who have completed the scavenger hunt,
right,
it will randomly pick someone. So basically, in that case, completing the scavenger hunt makes them eligible for a prize at the end of the party.
How cool is that? Now, as you're sitting here and you're describing this scavenger hunt and the process that the party or event planner or coordinator would utilize to actually, you know, snap images of items and then having a picture in a picture, so an item already beside something else. And I'm thinking of all kinds of crazy things to take pictures of in my house. And you know, if it's a house party, but if it's a corporate party, of course, it has to be something appropriate. Well, or maybe not.
Only if you want to keep your job.
Only if you want to keep your job, right? Only if you want to keep your job. But you can imagine how much fun it would be when you are playing this game. And especially if you're playing it with total strangers, right? If you go to another event, there's a scavenger hunt, it's a great opportunity for you to interact and meet people that you normally wouldn't talk to. You would pretty much be talking to your friends or whoever invited you to the party. So we're going to talk more about the business and where you think you're headed or your plans for the next 5 years. And you share with me what your buildup is going to look like right after we take this commercial break. Well, welcome back. And if you are an inspiring entrepreneur or a professional business person right now and you're in your business, no matter where you are in the spectrum of the establishment of your business, this is the place to be, because I have the best guests on the planet. I have Mr. Paul Van Camp here from IcePix, and we've been talking about his software development business where he created an app called IcePix. And if you haven't heard already, it's the best thing since sliced bread, by the way, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think so. It's the best thing since sliced bread. And he's going to share with us where your vision is for the next 2 to 5 years right from now with your business.
Sure. Well, I'm just introducing the app now, so it hasn't seen a lot of use yet.
Okay.
It is completely free.
That's always good. Everyone wants to download something free.
Absolutely. And so, of course, a lot of people say, how do you monetize if it's all free? And so the important thing to me is market share and getting people to use it. Once you get a lot of people using an app, there are many ways to monetize, one being to add advertising, and another being to offer people a subscription that gets rid of the advertising. So, but I think there will always be, well, the app itself will always be completely free, because the people who attend the party, they're not going to pay, they're not going to need to pay. But there may be down the line a pro version where the person who's hosting the party may get extra features for a fee. For example, there's the large screen slideshow that is, people show up. Well, people want a brand. They want to add their brand and their message to the large screen slideshow, because people are going up there and they're watching the screen anyway. You have their eyes. I mean, that's the important thing in this type of business, is getting people's eyes on the product. And then you can add advertising, or you can have, in this case, a pro feature where people can add all their branding to the slideshow.
That's fantastic. I would love to do something like that. Sure. Absolutely. So with you marketing and getting the app out there, out in the world, and people using it and interacting with it, share with me like the challenges that you had creating it. Like if I wanted to create my own app and I wanted to not do something, similar, yeah, I'm sure pretty sure you've already copywritten it, right? So we're already good on that. But if I wanted to be a software developer and an app developer, like what challenges should I consider before I embark on that journey?
Well, even it was a long journey. I spent a couple of years on the various different learning curves. Perhaps a little more complicated because I needed services for, because I'm taking photos and I needed a server for that. And I mean, if you can do an app that stands alone and then and isn't constantly talking with services, then you're making your job easier.
Okay. And what do you mean by, what is the difference between, you said services?
Well, storing photos is a service, and since this is event-based, then everyone at the event is getting updates, and so when you take a photo or you add information to the app, it goes out to a server.
I see.
And then the server sends it back out.
Exactly. Okay, it has to be stored somewhere and come back.
So some people, when they do apps, they may do a little game, but it doesn't need to be constantly talking to a service.
I see.
And which makes things a little
simpler.
Yes. Like the place to start is, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of educational. You go to YouTube and you put in, making an app, and then you'll see. I used what's called a hybrid, which uses like web to build the user interface, so that I was able to make it for Android and then port it to the iPhone without having to learn a completely new set of skills.
Wow, that was genius.
Yes, and I could also port it to a Windows phone app, except nobody uses Windows Phone. So
it came so quickly on the market, and it left so quickly. Bless their hearts.
So there's just enormous educational resources available. As I don't want to go back over that, we mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
And
right, the library. There's free resources. Was there any paid resources that you did use?
Well, I did go to some training seminar. Okay. I did pay some money. It was more weekend.
Investing in yourself is important.
Sure, sure. Sometimes it's good to have an instructor physically in the room with you so that you can ask questions. And to do like a weekend seminar, it's still very cheap, but you're getting some professional help that way. I think the most important rule is, if you want to create something, is what I call the ABC rule.
All right.
ABC, always be creating.
Always be I love that.
Yes.
You need to make a t-shirt.
Yes, yes.
ABC, always be creating.
Yes. Always be making something, always be moving forward. Be open to pivoting. But as long as you're creating, as long as you're making, as long as you're learning, there'll be an opportunity. It may not be the opportunity you expect. It may not be the opportunity you want at the time,
right.
But it could turn out to be better.
Better than what you ever expected.
It could be better.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for joining us.
Okay.
I really appreciate everything that you've shared,
Thank you.
I hope you come back and visit us soon.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
And now we will go for our next commercial break.
Okay.
That's all right. I'll just cut it right after that.
Okay. Super.